Hey, SM, what's up, man? Happy Tuesday. Alrighty. Let's get started. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Taco Tuesday. Crap, where's the button? There it is. The screen is still kind of out of... I'm still figuring out where the hell this thing needs to go in the new office. There we go. I think that does it. That's it. Now it's done. What's up, everyone? Had a pretty chill day today. Still working on the house. I've got a few more days left before I start back to work, and just trying to get as much done around the house as possible. And still rocking the orange jockers. Alright. Dive back in here. So I was looking forward to this. I think what I want to do is the host update. Here we go. I think we actually already implemented this and we double check. Yeah, we sure did. Which that one we just imported it, so that was pretty much. Hey Fusion, what's up, man? I need to go fix the link for Red Siege. I think that link is actually busted. It used to work on there. See something. Yeah, hang on one sec. I can update that link because I think they took it off their primary site. Added it, but I can fix that real quick. Hey Combo, what's up, man? How's it be doing? Hope everybody's having a fantastic Taco Tuesday. There we go. There you go, Frozen. I fixed the music link because most of the track is right now from Heartbound, but there's other ones that I've added from another offensive security company called Red Siege, and they put out some lo-fi tracks, so they're in the list as well. But I think they took it off their primary site because the link I had for it previously isn't working. I thought it was a fluke, but it's still not coming back. Thanks for coming over to the Dutch server, giving an awesome lecture. Hey, no problem, man. That was absolutely no problem. I'm glad everyone liked it. Hopefully, if I ever get over that way, we'll get to hang out. If I ever make it over towards Amsterdam, there should be 2 links there. I bought that Heartbound OST for 2 reasons, Frozen. One is because Software had explained on his stream that 100% of that goes to the composer of that music, which I thought was really cool. And 2, I figured if I'm going to be streaming it, I might as well go buy the soundtrack anyway. So, just as a way to kind of help them out, that's why I did it. We're organizing a CTF again soon. I'm collecting some Docker container challenges for the CTF. I got 4 now. Can you link me to some more? Actually, yeah. Let me find that real quick. Shoot. I think it's Volhub. Yeah, check this out. Volhub actually has a ton of already pre-made vulnerable Docker containers for just about anything you could think of. So you can go spin them up, throw them into an environment. It's pretty nice. Yeah, so like anytime I'm looking at building something, like these are really good for what I like to call like your initial foothold into an environment. in a CTF environment, I think getting that initial foothold should probably be one of the simpler tasks. If it's a multi-box environment, right? If it's a single system, okay, yeah, you can make the initial foothold a little bit more challenging. But for initial entry into a more complicated environment, like 3, 4, 5 system CTF, something like this is usually what I go to. They don't have flags in them, but you could go through and you could make a minor modification to put those flags into it. Because everything, like, let's say, for example, let's look at the GitLab one. So for your GitLab, there was a one for the 2021 CVE. So you got the Docker Compose YAML here. All you have to do is just come through, maybe do a modification of the Docker Compose YAML in here. Let me see if there's another example here. Actually, let's take a look at this real quick. So one thing you could do is, this is the image, right? So there's two services. There's a Redis and a Postgres and a GitLab, right? And this is pulling from Volhub, GitLab, this one. So what you could do is go pull this image and make a minor modification to it. And then when you change the compose file, all you do is just reference that modified image for the environment. You're probably asking AI to do it. Yeah, pretty much. But if you wanted to do it that way, this is what I would say do is modify the image and then point your compose file to the new Docker image, and you'd be good. Let's see. The new Docker image have to be hosted somewhere, right? Just on the server that you're running the CTF on. So I'm assuming you're going to have one instance of the CTF for multiple users. So it would just have to be on that server. You could do local copies of Docker containers. Yeah. Let's see. Check something. Go by it. See, this will load up. Oh wait, you know what? It won't load up because I realized LangGraph server is stopped. You start that up. So where we left off with everything is, this is all going well. We added this host update parameter here. So that's awesome. What I'm thinking about doing now is Recon is going to have like we might expand the task object a bit to add what I'm going to call a pre-flight check. And that is, before that task gets processed anywhere, the Recon agent is going to kind of do a little bit of preparation on where it's going to route it. Question is, how do I want to... Yeah, you just do a local copy of the Docker container. Because currently, the way this conditional jump happens is it looks to see, did we have a tool call or not? So if we have a tool call, it routes down to the tool node. If we do not have a tool call, it routes down here. We could just modify that jump condition. So if we come over to... where's our router? That's our Recon agent. Recon router. Here we go. So the Recon router is very basic on how it's passing this stuff. So it looks at the last message, checks this out. What we could do is, before we actually do this last message check, is we could go check the current... Think about this. I gotta double check I did something in the validator, because the validator should now be pulling the host object out of the state table and then using that. But if it is, well, if not, we'll go add it in. If it is using that, then all we have to do is make a simple change to the Recon router and make a quick change over here to the task. So, for example, if the task Actually, there's a very simple thing to this. Look at this. So there's a tool list here, right? If the task tool list length is 0, that means no tools have been run against it. Then we want to pass it directly to the validator. Basically saying, hey, can we answer this question without making any tool calls? So what we'll do is we'll have a third conditional jump in here. We'll have one that goes directly from recon agent to validator and comes back. Oh, actually, that's... No, that's not going to work. I just realized, because we're going to get stuck in a loop here if that happens. Because we'll make a tool call, we'll add it in there, but then we'll check the task and we'll do this. So the only other thing we could do is if we added like validator as a tool call, but that's not what we want. That's just going to muddy the water. I think the simpler thing here is we check the over here on the task. So in this class, we add what I would call like a pre-flight check. So the pre-flight check would be something like, hey, go pass this down to validator if this is set with the task. Yeah, let's see. Let's see here. What do I want to do? Yeah, we'll just call it that. Actually, what do we call it? Yeah, right. We'll call it pre-flight. And that'll just be a bool. So like so. So now, what's cool about this is we don't have to go through and modify the pre-flight check at all. All the LLM calls will already have this because they're referencing this structure. So that's awesome. What we want to do though is, real quick before we use that, I need to come down to the validator. Okay, so this is still using the tool output from the current task. See that? So what we want to do is we want to modify the tool output here and say, hey, the tool output is going to be, and we'll probably want to rename that, but we're going to change this validator prompt. Where? Prompts. Here's our validator. Have blazed bits been braised? I hope not. That sounds painful. No, no braised bits. So, Deb. Let me see here. Where the heck did I put that prompt? It's the validator prompt. And if you're wondering why don't I just Control F this, it's because the way I'm remoted into this server. All right. Task list prompt. Output format prompt. Task answer. Oh, wait, that is it. That's the task answer prompt. Duh. We drag this over. Because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to modify this where we're not using tool output. So we say examine the assigned task and use the, we'll call this host data, to determine if the task answer has been, if the task can be answered correctly. If the question cannot be answered using the host data, copy pasta that. Leave your answer response blank. So we'll make a minor modification here and here, and then we're going to change this value, so we'll have to go through and fix it. That's fine. That's host data. Hey, GoPro, what's up, man? Operator GoPro, what's going on with the group? All right, so now what we do is we got to modify this. We'll have to go do this over in enum also. But we'll say this is our host data, and our host data is not going to be our task. This is going to be our state table from, we say it is host. And then that's going to not be the current task. Take that out. That's going to be our target IP address. Oh, wait, that we do get from the task. So we will, actually. Let's do target IP is going to be I don't know why I'm doing this the hard way, but that's fine. It'll get done. So that's going to be state from our task list, indexed on the task. And then we're going to extract the target IP from that. Oh, there we go. So we're going to have this target IP address here. Now this is going to be the host and target this one IP. And then we're not extracting anything from that. That's going to take all of this information here. So the IP address, host name, ports, yada yada, throw it up into this. That should be good. So our validator now should be referencing what's in the host part of the state table. Nice. I like this. Okay. I think what we want to do here, let's think about this. So when the agent is actually executing, it doubles a couple different checks against what's the current task. So what I'm thinking about is, before we do the return, is we come up here and we maybe return just a quick message saying, like for the recon agent, performing pre-flight check. Then we can go through and we can do that same thing with, actually we could do the task trick there. No, wait, that doesn't make any sense. We added the pre-flight check option. Let's do a quick update here. So this will be, so let's see, we want to check if we can answer the task before calling. So what we'll do here is we'll say, if the current task, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this out. Pre-flight check. That's going to be our current task. And then we want to check the pre-flight check option. So simple enough. And so we say, if no pre-flight check, then what we're going to do is we're just going to return a message update. So we'll say to messages, we want to return an AI message here. And for that AI message, what we're going to tell it is, what do we say? We're going to say recon agent, and we're going to send this to performing pre-flight check. Pre-flight check to validator. There we go. There we go. That's not right. So what this should do is we can look at this AI message here. We can tell it, hey, by the way, if it's got an AI message, hey, Squee, what's up, man? Pretty good day today. Just working around the house. I'm trying to get as much done around the house as I can. I've gotten so much done. It has cost so much money over the last 2 weeks. I had a lot of work done on the AC unit. I had a bunch of work done. I had to have a new electrical line run to this office because it doesn't have enough power for all of the computers. And then the chimney on the roof is rotting out, so I gotta pay to get the chimney replaced. It's a wooden chimney. Ugh. It feels like my bank account's just a black hole right now. It's just, everything's just sucking in. Yeah. Yeah. It's not. By the way, Rails, what's up, man? No, but actually, honestly, the chimney has been a persistent issue since we moved in here like 6 years ago. So it was time to get it taken care of. It hasn't been bad, but it's kind of at this, it's about to critically fail. And like, I'm gonna probably have water dumping into the attic if it doesn't get taken care of quick. So can't put it off any longer. And poor Sock, she was asking, was like, why are we hemorrhaging money on the house all of a sudden? It's like, it's not that it's all of a sudden, it's that, well, it is all of a sudden. I just been putting it off, and I've had constant streams of distractions to forget about it, and now I can't forget about it. I'm getting it taken care of, so everything's just hitting at once. Uh, where's our router? Okay, so if the last message equals AI, and last message is tool calls, I'm gonna split this up. We're gonna do two different ones. We're gonna do an else statement. Actually, no, correction. We're gonna do another if statement here. So if both of these are true, then we're gonna return tool node. Kagro, what's up, man? How have you been? I hadn't seen you in a couple days. Hope you've been doing well. Let's see here. So if the last message type comes back as AI, and it has a tool call, then we do want to go to the tool node. Let me do one more thing. Actually, I take it back. Let me back this out. I don't want to do this. I want to do this a little bit differently. We do want to check if it's got a tool call. Do we want to return calling the tool node? I'm going to do one more check here. We're going to say the same thing, but we're going to check if the pre-flight check has been done yet. And for the pre-flight check, this is our current task. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all this and I'll just clear out what I did. I don't need any of these. Actually, I believe I could just take out this last message part here. Just leave the tool calls. But this is actually when I was trying to debug something. I can clean this logic up. We could just say if the last message has a tool call. We could also say if no pre-flight check, then return. What do we call that node? Our validator node? Recon validator. So we'll return the recon validator, and if all those fail, then we're gonna just return recon handoff. There we go. That will work. We do need to make a minor modification to how this conditional jump is actually rendered in the graph. So the way this works is, so we have edges and nodes in here, but we can also add a conditional edge. So we tell it the node name, what the function is that's going to return what the next node is going to be, and then we just have a list of these in here. So we need to add that recon validator into this. There we go. So once I add those in and I save it, hopefully we don't get any errors. But if we come back over and look at the graph, now you can see we've got 3 conditional jumps that can happen here. So the recon agent can come down here, and bam. Oh, you know what I just realized? We'd get stuck in a loop here because we never set the pre-flight after it gets fired. So we had 3 conditional jumps. It should only hit this one time, and that's just when it initially comes in. So let's go fix that real fast. And the place to do that would be up. So if no pre-flight check, we want to do one more thing. So we're going to say, so for our state tasks, we're going to pull out the reference the tasks in here. We're going to do state. Get the current task here. Yep, so we say state task, get reference the current task, and then we want to reference the pre-flight check. And we're going to set that equal to... Actually, I take that back. I don't want to do this here. Oh, I have to do this here, though. I just realized. You know what we can do? We can do this in the validator, though. Because what's going to happen? It's going to hit here. It's going to go through the routing function, hit the validator. The validator can just always set the pre-flight check to be true. Let's do that in the validator. Alright, so validator. That'll just be the very first thing we do. Because once it hits the validator, it should definitely be good. There we go. So we'll set that to true. Oh, there we go. So now once it hits the validator, the pre-flight check is going to be considered to be completed no matter what path it takes to get to it. You know, I just realized, though, there's another possibility where we might not be able to actually reference that. So we should check and make sure that the key actually exists in the host table. That would probably be a good idea. Because think about the very first thing, the very first task it's going to run through, the host table is going to be blank. So we're not going to have anything coming into it. So the state table is going to have that populated into it. But this is fine. So we'll have the validator always confirm the pre-flight check. Let's see. So we'll do performing pre-flight check to validator. That's fine. Actually, then it gets routed to there, which is okay. But the validator is actually the one where we need to check for this. Because if we don't have this host in here, actually, I take that back. There's a better way to do this. The agent can check for that. So what we want to do is we want to do another check in here. So if the pre-flight checks, meaning it hasn't gone through the validator to try and use the current host state to see if it can solve the answer, then what we want to do is, then we want to check it. So we want to check it in here. Basically say, hey, does this entry exist? Let's see if I can find something real quick. Python, check if string is IP address. I know we could probably do this with import IP address. Is there just a blanket IP address module? Do that? Oh, there's a built-in module for that. Excellent. We can do that then. So what we'll do is we'll import that. Because see, this one in the example here at least is checking if it's string. So what we'll do is, if there's no pre-flight check, Stinker State has a target current task, which has the target IP. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll get the current task. So current task IP address. That's not right. Target IP. In the keys for the state table. So we'll say state. Oops. Oh wait, I think it's the object and then the keys. Dot key. Yeah, there we go. So we'll check and see if that IP address is in the host table. If it is, then we'll return this. Else what we'll do is we will So let's look at this. So no pre-flight check and we have host data, then we send it to it. The other option in here is it does exist in there. Oh, sorry. This is yeah, no pre-flight check and we have host data. So the other option would be we don't have host data. If we don't have our host data, then what we do here is actually we would go set the pre-flight check. Actually, are we returning the task from this? We are. So we actually need to go commit this to state tasks. I forgot. So we'll set it because we need to update it this way. We'll say the task and then state current task, and then the target. No, is it pre-flight check? We'll set this equal to true here. So if we think about like what is the logic path here, we check to see has this task been checked by the validator at all. That's what the pre-flight check is. If it has not been, then we check to say, okay, do we have any host data for it? If we do, then we're going to route it to the validator. If we don't, then we're just going to mark the pre-flight check as true and send it down the line. Because now, once it hits the router, what's it going to check for? It's going to check, hey, was there a pre-flight check or not? Okay, then send it to validator. Otherwise, send it up here. So this is mostly going to be handy once we've actually got scan data pouring in. We have like nmap scans, HTTPX scans coming back in. Once those are good, we can go through and we can answer questions later on down the line by just re-referencing what's in the host data. We don't have to wait for these tools to churn and burn again. Biggest example is the first set of questions we're trying to answer, right, is find out how many ports are open. Okay, well, during that process, we find out what version of Apache is running. So we don't have to go do a service enumeration scan. What service is running on port 22? Well, we should already have that in the state table as well. So one nmap scan, in theory, could answer 3 sets of questions in here. So we can get 3 tool calls down to just 2. Actually 4, because this was 1, this was 1, this was 1. So we can cut it in half. And this is just a quick example of how we can compress that down. All right. Let's see here. I think that is good. So the validator should have to check to see if there is IP data in the task table. So we look at it this way. What are the options whenever we get here? It's a new task on a completely new host that we don't have anything to target against, right? So if we do that, then it's going to come through. It's going to say, hey, we don't have anything in the host table. Route it down to the tool node. Set the pre-flight check to true. It's already been done. Send it down to a tool node. Bam, bam. If we already have host data for it, then we don't modify the pre-flight check. But when it hits recon validator, it will be enabled. It'll say, oh, yeah, it's been done. We're going to make the LLM call to validate the task, and then we can send it back up to the agent. Sweet. I think that will work. I like this idea. We could try it. But you know what I got to do? I just realized something. I have not turned on try hacking. Deploy machine. Start. Alright, give that about a minute to boot up. And thankfully, everything's still working in the lab here. Get back on the VPN. Awesome. Where's our Stinger agent? I want to run it from here. So we're going to let it run through Stinger as well. Now that worries me. One of my monitors keeps blanking out randomly. Let me come back over to the LangGraph studio. Here we go. Switch back over to Stinger. Alright, so Stinger is our supervisor. So we're going to drop in a massive little state table in here. Except I just realized something. Actually, yeah, this should all be good. I don't know why I grabbed the blank state. I don't want that. What I did? I'm a dummy. I left in all of the comments. There we go. Spin up a new thread also. Right, so once our TryHackMe box is online, oh, we need to make a modification too. We got to get the new attack box IP. So we'll drop that right there in the context. And we also got to put that. We got to update that here. There we go. Otherwise, it's going to try and scan the wrong IP address. All right, let's send that. Well, that was a quick fail. What did I change in the initializer? This traceback at. Oh, it looks like something changed in line 38 on the initial. All right, what did I screw up? I change on this. Oh, I think it's because I was concatenating two lists. Let me see. The error is can only concatenate string, not list to string. My son's watching with me. He's heading to bed and wanted me to tell you that he says good night. Good night, tiny squee. Get some good sleep so you can grow big and strong. That's the whole point. I gotta remind myself that too. I don't get enough sleep. Then I feel like dog dude. Alright. That should have been fine though. I believe we've done this before. Let's see. This is an ad hoc fix for first task. Initializing the first task from the user in. Maybe I don't even need to wrap that. Is that the problem here? I'm averaging 2 hours a night of sleep, if at all. Dang, Ty. Gotta get some more sleep, man. Not good for you, bro. I mean, I usually need about 4 hours a night to be somewhat functional the next day. 5 hours, halfway functional. But typically, if I can get 6.5 hours of sleep, I'm banging it and just doing it really good. Okay, this could be a list of string or hosts in here. Hold up, why is this giving? Let me see what kind of complaint it's giving me. Expected types, string. Oh, that's right. It should be a list of string. Let me check something. Python concat list. Can you do that? Yeah, it should just be list 1 plus list 2 in here. So what was the error that we were actually getting from this? And I apologize for anybody wondering why am I dealing with rudimentary issues. It's because I actually really suck at writing code. Modifying it, hacking on it, that's no problem. Writing something from scratch is something I'm actively trying to learn. So I don't do a lot of like vibe coding on this. In fact, I do as little as actively possible. I'm trying to actually learn how to become a better code writer so I can write more fun stuff. Time's your greatest real-life adversary. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I've tried that, and I'm more convinced that if I don't sleep, I'll just be dead. And there was a really stressful time in my life a couple of years ago when I was managing the offensive security team, and it was I was not getting a full night's sleep for the better part of a year, probably more like a full year. And I was sleeping where I could, like an hour here, 2 hours there. I think at that time I was averaging maybe 5 hours of sleep a night, but that way maybe actually closer to 4 hours. I was working just insane days, like 16-hour days. Uh, I very diligently tracked how much time I worked. I had a little time tracker, and in my time tracker, I think 1 month I broke like 230 hours. You know, just a huge amount of work that was happening, and I got a lot more gray hairs from that year. Can only concatenate string, not list. Why it's saying that? I think the change made previously for the pre-flight interrupts the output that's being presented to this command. Think so. Because we don't even get to like the first language model call in here. But user input is just stub code that basically says, hey, by the way, if there's no message, here's a blank message, or like basically a dummy message you could throw in there. Otherwise, just return the state table back. So literally it takes in the state table and spits out the state table, because I never initialize it as blank information. Let's see. Well, one thing I can always do is I could just go over to GitHub. Do the git blame. When was the last time I changed this? 2 days ago. What commit was this in? Oh, hold on. Here's the commit that I made. So I can just go look at what the git diff is here. In Stinger. Yeah, literally, this is how it used to be. And then when I wrap it as a list here, then all of a sudden it doesn't like it. So literally, I added those square brackets, and I think it was working. Here, let's go back it out real quick. Try this. I know it does. I know it's going to complain about it, but I think it will still work. Would your mom buy a pewter for Christmas? Dang it, band. Now I gotta add that one to the list. This is the list of all the shit I've got to do for the stream. It's just on post-it notes. Pewter for Christmas. I'm just gonna have to go watch the movie in VLC and just cut these things out. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why that all of a sudden decided to make it, like, not be happy. There we go. Alright, let me try this again. Let's go see if that doesn't modify it. Now, one thing that's cool is when you save this, like you save your changes, it hot patches it in. New thread. Alright, let's try this again. Did I get the correct IP address? 1010 19592. Yeah, that should be it. That's it. So even though that's technically correct, because it should be a list of strings. Alright, so what did we hit in recon here? Recon agent. String has no attribute append. Alright, let's go look at that one now. See what changed. So recon agent line 52, it's saying that we did context append. This is saying string object has no append. That's weird, because the context shouldn't be a string. The context should be a list. Send me a list and I'll audacity them to MP3. You're a gentleman and a scholar. I will put up a wish list of the strings I want. Okay, so something in the new code we added to the recon agent. Let's go look. So recon line 52. So where's our context here? Is that the... Do we get the state context? The state context is supposed to be a list. You have a life, I don't. That's not true. You got a life, man. Especially only sleeping 2 hours a night. You got a lot of life. I don't get why... Only thing that's changed here is we said the context is a list of string and host objects. That's the only thing that's changed. What the heck is causing it to go crazy here? So it's a new task. We change it to a working task. And then we do a new line join against... Oh, wait, is that why? Wait, state host target IP. That's right. So this is the actual host data in there. So basically, it's an object. I think I did this already. Let me see. I remember that. Python converts dictionary to... Which I guess we could have actually just done it to JSON. Can you step through? There is a way tied to do that. Unfortunately, I have not gone through the trouble of setting it up where the LangGraph server or the LangGraph CLI is what's running this. This interface here is basically a pass-through to that. So it is running on the LangChain server or their website, but essentially it's making a WebSocket call through some port forwarding over to this server. When it does that, I could set up the debugger on here. I just haven't taken up the time to. So, but all this interaction here is basically powered by this CLI that's running in the backend that allows it to do all the hot swapping. I've been meaning to do that, but I've been able to work around it, and I haven't quite needed it yet. Let's see, because the context does not get modified at all. In fact, we set the context to be the state context in here. fact, I'm probably just doing this wrong. What I ought to do is just... Actually, yeah, we just did a string against the dictionary. That's exactly what I did. We could also use JSON dumps, but I don't need that because I don't need it to be prettified or anything.
Fight the planet!
Check something real quick. Let me try this real fast. For my own sanity, let's just run Python 3 quick. We have a dictionary, and if we do dict string, we're going to cast that my dict as a string, giggity, and then we'll. If I look at dict string in here, okay, so it doesn't have like any new lines that are in it. So maybe that's the issue here is I don't need to, because I was trying to get a little bit creative with it. If you notice here, what I was doing was joining all those strings together. I don't think I actually need this new line join in here. I think that will work. Because we're appending now to the list a string, right? So I think I was just a little bit overzealous here. Alright, so maybe that will work. Comment that out and see where it goes. Unfortunately, I need that comment though. Ooh, actually, let me look at something. You just reminded me of something else. As I'm looking at this code real fast here, if we view the state table like post initializer, right? If we look at the context that's here, notice how we had target machine IP address is 10.10.19592. This is okay. You might not be able to see it because of my fat head. But right here, this is what I was talking about. So we do have like a context kind of assuming the initial information about it. If I remember correctly, what I had done is I put this in. Think about this one. Hey, Freak, what's up, man? Fright? Fright? That's what I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Fright. What's up, man? Thanks for coming online. I just realized, though, as I'm doing this, this actually doesn't make a lot of sense because all we're doing is throwing an IP address into the context without any additional explanation of what the heck the IP address is. So what we could do here is... Well, actually, this doesn't even really necessarily matter. No, this shouldn't matter at all, because if we look at the task list in here, the task list has what the target IP address is. Yeah, so we don't need that. This actually doesn't even matter. Now that we're actually using the host table, it's no big deal. Hang on one sec, guys. Hang on, guys. It looks like Honey Badger's making a jailbreak. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. So for anybody who doesn't know, Honey Badger's my 3-year-old, and he was trying to make a jailbreak from his bedroom. And so there was more to it than that, but Sock needed backup, so I had to go help her out real quick. My manic lack of sleep has me stepping through troubleshooting steps without too much context. No, you're all good, man. This was needed in the past. We did want the context here is really just going to be for Stinger. The rest of the context that, like, whenever we add additional information to this, in this case, we were using the context window for other stuff, but we're not anymore. We're referencing stuff from the host entries over here. So we don't actually need that anymore. Yep, so that should be good. We don't have to append to the context anything. All right, let's go try running it now. I've copied it. One thing I wish I could do in the studio was save like a predefined set of inputs and just pull them back out. That would be super handy. Let's do a new node. Attribute has no... Where are we looking at now? I commented that out. Except I didn't save it. I guess it didn't register the change. Dang it. Alright. Alright, let's do this again. Okay, so we're hitting the tool node, which is to be expected. We expect to hit the tool node for the first go round. Expand this out here. Alright, so we're passing to the tool. Where was our language model call? Oh, there we go. I need to perform a port scan of the target machine with the IP address. Get it? So action, run a in-map port scan. Good. Alright, so we're just waiting for RoboPages to run the port scan right now. One does not simply confine a honey badger. You don't, man. That kid, I think that is the most appropriate code name for him. Agent Zero is a very appropriate code name too for my older son. He is so mellow and so chill. I'm actually trying to figure out ways to get him to amp up a little bit, like when we go four-wheel riding, because he was a little bit too loose. I was like, I need you to stiffen up, buddy. If you're too loose, the ATV, when you hit bumps, is going to rock you around. Be a little bit more stiff, but, you know, flow with it. So my initial reaction of comment it out and see where it goes might work. Actually, yes, you're right, Ty, because it looks like it doesn't need that portion anymore. And it has to do with how we were using different portions of the state table, right? So the state table is like a giant book of knowledge that gets transferred between all the various nodes in this endeavor. We could have multiple state tables. I decided it actually looks like it's working just fine to have a common state table amongst all the nodes. So for example, here in the recon node, if the Stinger agent had a Stinger state and Recon had its own state, as long as they had some shared keys, we could get data in and we could get data back out. But we can have full access to the entire suite of data by just passing this thing around. Like, for example, if we wanted to, we could pass in like just the host information that Recon's going to be working on.
that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we just pass the entire book around. Only one agent at a time will be working on the book. Makes it nice and simple. So we pass this around. For some reason, this Nmap scan is taking for freaking ever. And this should be a fairly fast scan, because this was 3 minutes ago. Let's see. (1010 195 92), which that should be the correct IP address. 1010 195 92. Yeah. Ping that real fast. Let's echo 23. What's up? Actually, I can't. Let me try. All right, something is a little bit wonky here. Because we should be running Apache on port 80. Let me restart the VPN here. Well, sometimes pings don't like to go over VPNs, Ty, so... Hold on. Easy way to find this out is just scan port 22 for that. 1010 195 192. Yeah, so 22 is showing back as filtered because 22 is definitely still available. That's how we know it's messed up. So, for some reason, our try-hack-me VPN is no bueno. Reload this one. 10.10.195.92. I wonder what our agent's doing with this failure. Okay, so we hit an error down in the enum, which is fine actually. It looks like did it finish recon and it actually errored on enum? Oh no, we hit a recursion limit. That's actually something I've been meaning to do here. Is put a recursion, we probably also should put a counter on the task limit. Say, hey, by the way, we've ran, I don't know, 3 tools against this and it hasn't been able to function, so we probably should have hit it. There's a built-in, here, let me hide the camera real fast. There's a built-in recursion limit where I believe if it hits 25 nodes, like basically passing to 25 different nodes in here, it says, hey, we think you're stuck in a loop, we're gonna kill it. So this is a default setting inside of LangGraph. Very handy that that's there, because when I first built this, I actually did have a very nasty loop in here, and it was just churning a shit ton of cycles on the language model. Hey, Oreo. It's going, man. I'm trying to add in the new pre-flight check into here. So what should happen is it should look to see if we have data about the host associated to the task first. And if we do, pass it down to the validator. Otherwise, go down the tool node chain and then pass it back. Watching is like watching David Copperfield in his heyday. You always make magic happen. Bro, I like, if I wanted to watch magic happen while somebody was coding, I go watch Primogen. That dude is a freaking beast. He thinks so fast, and I'm in awe every time I watch him. I can barely keep up with him while I'm just watching him. What is going on with our VP? I think this has got to be something on try-hack-me site, because nothing has really changed over here. I'm going to terminate this box and restart it, so we can get a fresh IP address on it. It terminated. What I really can't wait for, though, is being able to add some modularity to this, where, like, for example, after it could kind of do some of the, like, the easy hack the boxes and try hack me's and stuff, taking it and then make it so that we can very easily go build a new graph and plug it in and let it do its thing. So, for example, being able to like add in Active Directory reconnaissance or Azure Cloud or AWS. Oh, I can't wait to be able to get to that part. But that's a ways down the road. All right, start new machine. Let's see if this fixes it. Unfortunately, my skills have deteriorated immensely. Dude, I'm actually worried about that when I go back to work next week. Because I've been on leave for... Let me see. I go on leave. I think I technically went on leave on March 10th. But really, I think that week I was helping with reporting for another coworker. So I've been on leave for like 6 weeks, which is the longest I have been away from working in a long time. So whenever I get back in there, I'll be like, man, I know I'm going to be a little bit bumbly. I'm going to have to knock some cobwebs out of there. What might be cool is if you could add different tools as modules that have descriptions of what the modules do and what they output. So you could just add tools on the fly. That's what RoboPages in theory should do, Band, is be able to do that. The problem with RoboPages is it will do part of that, but because it's running everything in Docker, a lot of the like the C# tooling really isn't going to be an option, like running it from the attack box. So I'll have to come up with a solution for that. There is a lot of stuff I want to do. But essentially, RoboPages allows us to do that, though. So while this is starting up... Oh, actually, it looks like I finished. Here. Got the IP address here in a second. But what RoboPages should do... If you haven't seen this, I'll drop a link over to it in the chat. Who needs C#? I need C#. I use that all the time when I'm in AD land. When I'm in Active Directory land, I use that crap out of C#. But what this program should let us do, RoboPages, is when we need to go stick in new coding, as long as it's not something that needs to run in Windows land, like a .NET binary, we can just define it as a YAML file in a Docker container. And you know you're getting old when you sneeze and it hurts your back. .NET, ew. Yeah, I had the same reaction until I realized how easy it was to use .NET to get what I wanted out of certain things. The only thing worse than C# is PowerShell. Agreed. And the only thing worse than PowerShell is Rust. Let me go grab this. 1010 123 41. Let's go put this in. Actually, let me go try this before I even go spin the cycles on it. This is so weird. What is going on with the VPN? Oh, it would help if I turned on the VPN. Yeah, that would help. Can't you do C# on mono? I could, but at the same time, that kind of... It defeats the purpose a little bit. What I'm thinking of doing is... maybe just having something like... I don't know, I've got a couple ideas. I was thinking perhaps I will just have a Windows attack box set up that already has some tools in there. And there's some ways I could kind of monkey patch those things. Monkey patching is the wrong term, but basically what I could do is have a Docker container set up in RoboPages where I could present Windows tooling to it. And what would happen is the Docker container spins up, actually sends commands over to the Windows box, executes those commands or executes the binary on the Windows box and gets it back. I could do it that way. I haven't actually looked into mono. That might be a better solution in the future. This is just like a dirty hackish way I could think of doing it. It's not a fan of C# because lots of times people use it in PowerShell and the code has to be compiled, so the C# just sits on disk left behind. Not to mention C# is typically pretty simple to decompile unless you obfuscate it in some way. But at some point, why not just write C or C++? That's true too. But I mean, so much of the popular code is written in C# for offensive tooling. This is a G. What's up, man? Thanks for coming online. I mean, so much. Like, for example, Rubius. I use Rubius on a pretty much daily basis whenever I'm working on a red team assessment. When I'm in Active Directory, it's Rubius and Kerberos tickets like all day, every day. But why follow what everyone else does? Because this, in theory, should be kind of replicating what an actual penetration tester does. I'm not saying I couldn't go do it. I do have access to the Maldev Academy. I do want to learn some of that stuff. Yeah, I could go get it. C# makes it very simple to do that. Now, one thing I really like to do is, like, when I'm running stuff in let's say over a C2 agent, I will just proxy traffic in. So I'll be running on a local Windows attack box, proxy traffic into the environment, and that way the C2 agent is essentially just acting as a proxy. So I'm not dropping stuff to disk. They literally had to do network forensics to be able to figure out what the heck's going on. Yes, but the point is to do what an adversary would do. That's true. And a lot of adversaries, I mean, they don't even really get that far unless you're getting like, and that's actually a really interesting point, because it seems like the skill set for maliciously offensive systems looks a bit like this. A lot of times it's a double distribution like this. And over here, let's say this is I can't write. Let's say this is skitty to 0 cool, right? Like, where are you on this list? Down in this area right here, you've got a lot of ransomware groups, right? They exist over in this area. They're not doing anything really complex, and the leaked playbooks that they use for like the people that they hire really show that. And then you've got over here, you got stuff over here. You've got stuff like, I think, like Lazarus and like basically like nation state APTs is over here. So you've got like this giant dearth here where they're either really like simple script kiddie style almost versus what's going on here. There's actually not a ton that happens in the middle here. It's kind of funny. You know what's even funny about the red team in general? Most red teamers have no clue what malware does. No idea what the adversaries actually tend to do. Yeah, that's one thing I actually like doing is actual adversary emulation. So for the most part, if you come in and doing a penetration test, right, you're just coming in and trying to find what you can find. You have typically some objective you're trying to hit. The ones that I actually really did not like the most was just find what you could find. I called them a smash and grab. Those were by far the least interesting ones to do. But if you go through and you do something like an objective-based adversary emulation, like, hey, by the way, we've got really critical stuff sitting over here. What can you get to? Can you get to that? That was way more interesting. And then on the split side of that, you got like what Band is talking about with, do you have, can you actually come through and do adversary simulation or emulation, where you find out what their TTPs are, their tactics, techniques, and procedures, and emulate those in the environment. So it does two things. One, to see what would happen if that threat actor got into your environment. And two, could we detect if they got into the environment by knowing what their standard operating procedures are? And the third one there is like, you're really more over in this area where you're going full red team. You're trying to come up with novel ideas to completely evade their defenses. So this was the last one that I did, and it was really neat, but it was kind of a bummer because we had some hiccups along the way and I didn't really get to do everything I wanted. It's very obvious. Obviously, the coding skills of AI still can't beat a real coder. That's true. That's very true. Those ones, I think the idea would be to go low and slow even on them, where you slowly find things and then bang on the door at the end. Yeah. Hey, Babla, what's up, man? There we go. Those who fail to plan, plan to fail. Exactly. Now, back to this issue with the VPN. What is going on? Look at this real quick. So, got a remote link. They use a different IP address. Now, one thing I could do is I could go regenerate the OpenVPN connection. Compression for receiving enable. Compression has been used in the past to break encryption, send packets. Yeah, I don't care. Let me try something real quick here. Let's do dang it, what is it for system D for looking at you? Hate system D. System D routing to address. It's the command. It's just IP route. So 10.5.10.0/24 should be going out ENS 18 by a source scope link. So if I do IP header, let me see. So ENS 18, that should be the VPN. So if I kill this, nope, that's still there. So there's something jacked up here. I bet that's why. I'm probably one of the most opinionated people you'll find when it comes to red team strategy. I believe it. Considering how long you've been in this game, yeah, I totally believe it. Damn. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. I actually switched to high quality H2O. I think it's my dev box here. Let's see. Let's see. Root VPN interface. Oh, you know what? Actually, I just realized something. That's 10.5.10.10. That's actually, that should be fine. Yeah, there's something messed up in the routing table here. No, that's not gonna work. Let me go over to try hack me. Let's see. So we should be going to 10.10. 123.41. And what was the IP we were hitting? If I remember right. Yeah, for some reason that's going out the default gateway, and OpenVPN is not adding it to the routing table. Oh, well, it could be because I didn't have it turned on. There we go. Yeah, the routing table hasn't changed, though. See that? Dang it, I really don't want to reboot this system. I think I might have to reboot the dev box. Maybe just clearing that shell out will do. Yep. Yep. Have you turned it back? Have you turned it off and on again? Yeah, I know, right? That's another thing that's meant to come onto the soundboard. All right. Unfortunately, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. So let me. Damn it. All right. Let's kill this. Let's close this out. I got to reboot the dev box. Exit. see. Do I have anything else? Let me go ahead and kill the RoboPages server. Even though it'll be fine if I just left it. Sudo. And this box has survived many iterations of being hibernated, so it doesn't surprise me that the routing table got all jacked up in it. Thankfully, it should come back pretty quick, because this is a beefy box that it's running on. This is a VM running on my server. Now, the part that might suck is getting the Chasm VNC reconnected. Is that the right one? 1010. 12341. Yeah. Well, I just rebooted that and shut it all down for no damn good reason. Hey, Bobby, what's up, man? Troubleshooting a little bit right now because for some reason I cannot reach the system over on TryHackMe for our testing, which is really annoying. I mean, one thing I could do is I could come over and open up the attack box. Because I have a TryHackMe subscription, I can use the attack box. Wasn't there an OpenVPN flag to add? It shouldn't be. I mean, bad because that was the one that's the same command I've been using. I don't see how it would have changed. If I tried werewolf, I'm not aware of the werewolf. Cluster management and provisioning. That's a valid question though, Bab. It should be just as simple as running the OpenVPN command up here. Check something. Let's check the IP addresses. Let me try something real quick. What if I just purple.com. Okay, so that works. So it's got internet connectivity. I was wondering if maybe there was something going on with the routing in the system, but no, that's working. This with many boxes you spit off might be something useful. I've actually been really enjoying Ludus. Ludus has been working great for spinning up these like dev environments and doing all these other bits to it. Get started. I'm curious about this. Let me look at the quick start guide on this. Configure your firewall, configure werewolf. Add a base node image. Oh, this is for like using Docker and stuff, right? I see. So this is literally like a Docker cluster, man. What I'm seeing. Phew. Lost the link early. Yeah, you're fine. Frozen, what's up, man? You're all good. Let's go see what's going on here. Spin this out here. What's our target IP? 10.10.123. it's thinking. These attack boxes are not very chunky, so. I know it wasn't mounted. Just give me a terminal. I just want to validate that it is the VPN that's causing the issue. Oh. Hey, Zaza G, what's up? If this box ran any slower, it might go back in time. God, I'm sending keystrokes to it. It's going to be so slow. Try reloading this page. That will help. So there's 3 points of failure. Just trying to wrap my head around your instances. Pretty much, I mean, what happens here is you've got the server, which it has internet connectivity, so it should be able to connect to the VPN. Potentially, it's something on the try hack me side that's causing the issue. Other one could be that the attack box itself isn't spinning up correct, which seems a bit weird. I'm just running through the possibility. 22 and 80. And 10, 10, 1, 2. Yeah, so see, these are coming back as open right here. So it's definitely something on the VPN. So one thing I could do is... Let's see. Remember how to do it, though. Hang on one second. Let me pop into OPSEC mode quick. Yeah, one sec, guys. I'm going to download the new config file and drop it over. Stand by for favor. Especially don't want y'all to see the private keys on the VPN because OCR with AI has gotten incredibly good. One sec. Almost done. All right, now we're cooking. So what I did is I came in here. I'll show you the fix that I did. So I came back in here over to try hack me. You click up here, you click access, and then you can download a new VPN config. I think it was trying to connect me to an EU server for some reason. And so, yes, now we're actually connected. All right. Excellent. So let's redo that nmap scan real quick, just for validity's sake. All right. Now we are cooking with propane and propane accessories. Oh, dang it. I forgot that that is not right. Let's see if we can get the VNC server to work. Because one of the reasons why I'm so hesitant to reboot this box is because getting CAS and VMC back up could be incredibly questionable. Apparently, all I needed to do was stream it so that people would actually see it. There we go. Now we're good. All right. did this exactly. I think I just ran PyCharm correctly. I don't think I had to run it in the virtual environment the way I fixed it. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's see if we can get LangGraph up and running again. Actually, so we had asked about this earlier. Oh, you know, I just realized I need to restart Robo Pages. So let's we rename this window. Call this Robo Pages CLI. Need to put that. I think I put that in / Robo Pages. Yeah. So then the Robo Pages server. There we go. All right, cool. There we go. Now we're talking. All right, so now everything's kind of back up. Let's go try this again now. So I do need to come through. I gotta update this IP address here. Grab the IP address again. 10.10.123.40. Drop that right there. Perfect. So let me grab a copy of the testing state table. Good. Camera, Bobby. You know what they say? Propane is the way to go. I wonder if Hackbot will ever be fused with its own C2 like Hackbot will be another user. Like how you can add an operator to Sliver after you start it with multiplayer. Actually, I've got a coworker that's already done that. And he did it for Mythic. So I'm going to talk to him about it when I see him next week. And I'm going to be traveling next week. I was hoping to get a mobile streaming setup going. So unfortunately, there won't be a stream next Tuesday. What is that? The 6th. So because I'll be traveling, I really want to get a mobile setup going, but it's a lot of effort for something I'm going to use once every 3 months. But he's a really smart guy, and he had built one into Mythic. So I was hoping I'd have something like that. I don't think I'm going to have the time to get it up, though. Look at, here we go. Okay, cool. Now we're up. So let me go ahead and drop in the state table, and let's go try this. Hit the initializer. So we're hitting the tool node. Down here. Back this out a bit. It gives a little bit better insight. Now, for some reason, it's not giving it the way I thought it should here. For some reason, messages is not rendering like it used to. A little bit different. It used to stream that back out here. I wonder why it's not. Okay, validator is running. Oh, I cancel. Something bad's happening here because we're hitting validator and then recon agent, recon validator. Yeah, so we're stuck in a loop here. So something is a little bit wonky. In fact, I'm not even sure if I necessarily need that recon handoff object here. Hackbot has connected to the team server. Yeah, pretty much. What's the Python code do? So this is, if you take a look here, this is using a framework called LangGraph. And the idea here is we're building a pen testing bot that can go in and play capture the flags for us. So it can do try hack me, or pack the box. And so we're having a good time with it. And it mostly was an excuse for me to get better as a code developer. I've been working in offensive security for 7 years. I've been in IT for 15 years, and literally been writing code since basic, and not visual basic, like line 10 basic, line 20 go to 10 kind of shit. So for a long time, but I've never really buckled down to become a very good code writer. So what I'm focusing on here is becoming better at actually writing code from scratch, but two, also understanding how some of these agentic AI systems work, because I know when I'm doing these offensive security assessments, I'm going to be running into it in production soon. I'm not running into it like in the internal side yet. A lot of it's user facing, chatbots and stuff like that. Yeah, those are interesting, but when I'm working on the interior, I'm typically not running across that. If I do, though, I want to be very well prepared for it. Wait, what happened to my... Where'd my graph go? It disappeared. All right, so I need to go back through and figure out why... All right, here we go. Recon. Let me expand this back out. Let's step through it. So we hit the start node. That's fine. We hit recon agent. So I'm going to scan this target. I'm going to do an nmap TCP SYN scan. Perfect. That's what we want. Tool node returns back a bunch of nmap XML. We send that to the output formatter. We get nice prettified JSON in the structure of our nmap output format. We update that to the host. Reports TCP 22. Looks like it parsed everything out correctly.
I'm back, baby.
Hey. This would be cool to see. I need to play around with Mythic. Would like to figure out some custom C2 payloads without relying on the custom stage or obfuscation tool. Dude, that's one of the great things about Mythic is it's not really a C2 platform. It's really a C2 framework and provides you all the tools to go build your really awesome stuff you want with it. When I did the interview with Cody, which is up on YouTube for anybody who wants to see it, that's what really made it click for me. So I'm really looking forward to diving into Mythic, because once we get through the exploitation agent, which granted is going to take a while, then we're going to be integrating the exploitation and post-ex agents with Mythic. So the exploitation agent's job is going to be to get an initial foothold and then create basically a C2 channel with that foothold and get it into the post-ex agent. Let's see. Recon validator. Okay, so we hit the recon validator. Scan the target. How many ports are open? 2. Awesome. All right, so we hit the recon agent, performing free flight check to validator. Task 0 validated, answer is 2. Oh, I just realized something. I think code in the validator might be funky. Because watch what's going to happen here. We're going to hit the agent validator, agent validator, agent validator. It's stuck in a loop here. Okay, so that is not bueno. In fact, I think the problem here is... Let's be... So the problem is potentially in the routing. So it's either in the routing function, which is what makes these conditional lines here, these dotted dashes. I don't know how recon has a conditional edge to end here. Recon handoff does, which actually I don't even think we necessarily need recon handoff. I put it in there just in case. But yeah, what's happening is we're getting stuck in a recursion loop right here. What's recon agent saying at this point? Performing pre-flight check to validator. Okay, let's make a little bit of an update here. So when it goes to do from the recon agent, it's going to do the pre-flight check. Let's make this a format string.
Let's see. Let's change this one. We'll say sending task to validate or reflect check. So that's going to be coming from the agent, and what we want to put in here is our current task. So that'll be our task index number. That's what we want to do. Hey, St. James, what's up, man? I'm new to cybersecurity in AppSec. What certificate would you recommend for studying, and of course, a course for certification? It depends on where you want to go, Nate. Are you wanting to stay in application security, or is there a different area of cybersecurity you're wanting to move into? Didn't you put a step back to the pre-flight check when it came in? Possibly. How do you grow a beard like yours? You have a very understanding wife who's willing to put up with you for a long time. And in fact, if I went back and looked at one of my streams from a year ago, because it's been about a year that I've been streaming, it's so much shorter. It's like to here. And so it's added like 3 inches over the last year. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so when we have 2 essentially types of tasks we want to run through with this. One is, hey, everything is brand new. The task has not been assigned yet. Oh, hold on. You know what I just realized? Let me look at something from the initializer real quick. The pre-flight check is being initialized to true. See that? Okay, so that's one error right there. We need to make the pre-flight check set to false for that. So, because this should mean, hey, we've completed the pre-flight check. So that part is jacked. So we'll need to go address that over in Stinger. I just shaved my beard off. I forgot when I didn't have a mustache. I'm actually trying to grow the mustache out right now because it was very thin. I'm trying to see if I can get the handlebar in there because I'm tired of it getting long and getting in my mouth. Okay, so the pre-flight check here is when we get it back from the language model is coming back as true. So let's come back over here. For this query, should be blank, and the pre-flight check pre-flight check could be false. All right, so we'll put a little note in there for the language model. Tell it the pre-flight check should always be false. But now let's actually go look at Recon Agent, because what's happening here is we say no pre-flight check has happened, right? So it actually did. Hold on. If we look at the trace here, the trace actually might be simpler to see if we go pull up the actual trace. So let's do that. So what happens here? Recon Agent says, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so for our task, they were already set to true. So what it's assuming is, hey, this has already come through. I got a half handlebar mustache. Nice. Why does every cybersecurity professional have a long beard? You know what? I didn't used to have a long beard. Mine was an evolution, and it wasn't having to do with cybersecurity. I kept a short trim beard because my beard grows so fast, at least in the beginning, my wife wouldn't kiss me. It was purely out of survival and affection for my wife. I could literally shave at 7 in the morning,
by 720, I had like 90 grit sandpaper. So I grew a short beard out just so I could get kisses from my wife. Fast forward to about 2 years ago, work got absolutely insane. I was working 16 to 18-hour days, not sleeping enough, trying to take care of my wife and a newborn and our older son. And shaving just went out the window. It was gone. And so my beard started growing in. My younger son, who is now known on the stream as Honey Badger, just one day started playing with it and thought it was the funniest thing. And ever since then, I've not shaved my beard. So I just let it grow. That was when he was like a year old, and now he's 3 years old. Blame Unix. Yeah, what's bad is it actually took me a while to figure out how to get it to like behave, because it did just used to look like pubes. Okay, let's see here. So let's look at through the trace here real quick. Oh, okay, so Ty was suggesting, hey, when it returns from in-maps, set the pre-flight to false. If I was going to set the pre-flight to false, if I couldn't get the language model to do it, what I'd do is over here in Stinger, when that task list came back, I would then come through and just iterate over all the tasks and set it. The planet! I would come back through here and I would set it to false after that task list comes through. So, because we already iterate over the task list, and we assign it in a ranked order, so it goes to recon first and then enumeration, yada yada. So it should go down the list like this. So we could do that. But if I really need to, and the language model just absolutely refuses to set that pre-flight check to false, we'll just manually set it over. I think it's an age thing, just so you can hit a certain age, your beard starts growing. It's just a thing. It is just kind of thing. All right, so let's think about this. So our pre-flight check was coming back as true, which I just realized something here. This is supposed to be a no pre-flight check. So what was happening was I had the Boolean reversed. So it was always hitting this list. It was hitting this condition right here, right? It said if the pre-flight check, basically, which was set to true before I renamed this, then it's checked to see, hey, is the current IP address in the host table? It was not. So what it did is it just set the pre-flight check to true, which is fine. Pre-flight check should have already been set to true. So it was hitting here and then hitting here and then going through the regular assignment task as it did. So we had a couple things working against us here. It's the bicycle shop guys that have the really long beards, not the cybersecurity dudes. Yes. Bicycle shop guys have like ZZ top level beard. Alright, let me see. So we updated this message here for like what we're doing. It's coming through the list here. All right, so one else, we need to check the router right here. So, yeah, this is the problem right here. The Boolean was backwards. So what should happen is it gets to the recon router, checks the current. We parse out the current task. We check. We get the pre-flight check. If the pre-flight check is set to false, right? So let's think about what happened when these task lists came in. It was set to true from the language model because we didn't explicitly tell it how to set that. It just kind of guessed. So that's set to true. It's like, okay, cool. So pre-flight check was set to true. Well, up here, what we had, let me back this out real quick. So this is what we had. It was supposed to be no pre-flight check, which it wasn't. It was supposed to be an inverse. So this should have been basically not like that. But rather than putting that in here, I'm just renaming it. So the pre-flight check comes through. It's set to true. It checks here. It says if this, then always return the validator. So what it checks to see, hey, did we have tool calls? Well, we didn't because it's a brand new thing. So go to the tool node. If we hit this, then go to the recon validator. So I think that was the issue here. When I saw ZZ Top in concert for my 50th birthday, I didn't realize how many guys looked just like me. Okay, I think that was the problem here, is that this should be just pre-flight check. And this would be, if not pre-flight check, then return the validator. And so once it hits the validator over here, we instantly set the pre-flight check state to true. But the problem is the Boolean was reversed because the naming of the variable. Okay. I do want to run this in just a second. I need to run to the bathroom and I gotta go do something real fast. And then we'll come through and we'll run this again against the test box. And we'll see how it comes through. So I'm gonna stage that up real quick so we can just run it right when I get back. I gotta go take a wicked French yes. Okay. That should be good there. I'm going to run a 3-minute ad break, guys, so we can get rid of the rest of the ads for the rest of the stream, because we're going to go for about another hour. And so grab a drink of water, go stretch your legs out for a second, and then we'll hit this again and we'll do some more hackage. So be right back.
the planet!
Alrighty, I'm back. I am back. Okay. Look at something. ST. Back up to the gun agent. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Yep, so this makes perfect sense. So this Boolean value was inverted from what my assumption. It was basically backwards. But since we didn't have a host key for it, it couldn't send it. So, and the same thing that happened in the router. All right, let's try this again. Submit. Our initializer. Our task list. Go down to the recon agent. So we send, let's see. So it does a nmap TCP persistent scan. Should be fairly quick. We hit our output formatter. Should then hit host update. Let's see. Variable naming was always my Achilles heel. Well, apparently it bit me in the butt too. Hey, actually, it looks like it's working now. We can go ahead and cancel it because it did get through recon handoff. And it went all the way over to enumeration. So the problem is, though, enumeration does not have... what is it? The enumerations does not have... Actually, you know, there's a way we can work around this. So one of the cool things we can do is everything is based off the state table, right? So if we come down here, let me take a look. So right here's where it passed it over to enumeration. If we actually just come back to this part, see where I'm looking. There's initializer. Hold on. Did it collapse down? No, there's recon. Why is it not letting me see the individual nodes over in? Suboptimal. I wanted. Because what I wanted to do is return that other one to it. I don't want to port the changes over to enumeration before I get it. But one thing we can do actually is we can intercept this a bit. So once we hit the task here, we can do view state. Here it is, JSON, raw values. Okay. So we can actually use this as an initialization value up here. So see how this is initializer, and then we come over to stinger once we hit this. So what we could do is we can actually pass this all in. And what I want to do is it going to let me do this the way I want it to? I think it is. Wait, there's been a previous input this whole time? And I didn't know what those stupid little up and down arrows were? Oh lord. The tension build of the music was perfect. Dude, all the code's up on GitHub. There's just not an explanation on how to get robo pages set up, and the robo pages that are being used are not in there. I will eventually move that over to where everything that you need for robo pages will be in the repository. So here's what we'll do. Actually, I'm going to come over to... I'm going to do interrupt after initializer. I'm going to resend this data here. And then now once it exits the initializer, it will interrupt and it will pause. And I think we can edit the state here. Let's see, they're gonna let me edit it? I don't think it is. Yeah, because the only problem is it's sending a lot of this stuff over to enumerate here. All right, go ahead and continue. In fact, go ahead and cancel this run. Because until we port the changes over to recon, from recon to enumerate, it's not going to be much help. These two are almost identical for the most part. I can take this out. I don't need There's a simple way to kind of the changes to so this all got added. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basically just looking at the get diff. I'm gonna bring that over to the ground line. It's slightly different. Right now it's identical. No. What's our next change here? I don't think I actually did that. So is it a working task? Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why I did that context in here. Took that in. For some reason, I had the context of it. Why you want to hack the planet and how how will you do it? Carefully and for fun. Oh, I answered those backwards. For fun and carefully. So, dude, I know that a lot of people aren't big fans of the 1995, I think it was, Hackers movie. I freaking love that movie. To me, it's like a pug dog. It's so adorable because it's ugly. Oh, and massive profits, yes. Been hacking the planet since circa 1984. Yeah, actually, I have. Kind of. Let's see. So what I'm doing now is I'm just porting all the changes from Recon over to Enum real fast. I don't think I actually messed with the state context over here. Is working task? Yeah. Context, I had current task output. Really, I don't think I need any of this. Yeah, actually, this is what I had over here, but we don't need any of that. We just need the agent append. Let that out. Actually, to it. Screw it. Do it. We'll do it. I had it. I comment out this code. How long have you been hacking? What's your name? My name is Blaze. I've been professionally hacking systems for the past 7 years, but in reality, I'm doing it since the 2nd grade. So you're talking, what's that? 1991? Yeah, I think I was in 2nd grade in 91. Yeah, 91. Don't care about that. Context equals state context. Okay. We don't have to return the context. Oh no, we do want to do that. Oh, but we set the context up. I remember all the changes I made. Just cut this out. Let's take that out. We don't. Just extract that from the state table. Same thing for. Yep, because we don't need to actually update the context. Take all that out. War Games gave away all the best secrets. I freaking loved War Games, and I didn't actually watch War Games for a long time and understand it, and then I actually really enjoyed the crap out of it, especially after I started understanding more about telephony, and then I was like, War Games was so legit. This in here. Pre-flight check, and then we can take this out. We don't care if it's AI. We just want to know if the last message was a tool call. Turn enum tools. And if it's not a pre-flight check. Let me double check that. Did we have the not pre-flight check? Yeah, we did. We had that version in there. Perfect. This actually needs to be enum validated. There we go. Place what? Banana? Apple? You're not going to trick me with a banana in the tailpipe again? Now, if you know that movie reference, I'll be very impressed. Let's see. Down to the validator. Probably missing something. There you go. Ty got it. BHC. I gets all my my good movie references. Telepathy like the Vulcan mind meld? No, telephony. Telephony. When I took a course in, it was a Cisco VoIP class, but after I understood more about how the PSTN worked, and then you see the scene in War Games where he grabs the soda can top, right? The kinds that back in, that was an older movie, right? They were kind of actually like peeled off and you threw them away. When he took that and he undid the receiver and he touched the receiver to the phone, what he was doing is grounding that circuit. That was what's called a ground, like a ground start or ground interrupt circuit. And so what would happen is when you put coins in, that's when you would hit the ground interrupt. He was shorting it to ground it out to get the dial tone to make the phone think he had put money in it. Hey, Rona, what's up, man? Agents are doing pretty good, man. I'm porting over some changes from the recon to the enumeration agent now. And having a good time with it. And hopefully what it should do now is we had a state table set up for hosts. Or the state table had a section for like keeping track of hosts that have been scanned and what was found on them. But we weren't really making use of it. So now we are making use of it. Oh, that's right. We made a small change, which was to our conditional jump. So our conditional jump should now also be able to go to enum validator over here. All right, let's see if I got an error in here. Save this. Okay, cool. I think that's good. There's a frac article about the techniques, if I recall correct, like early frac. Dude, see, that was the kind of information I would have killed for when I was younger. I hate to sound like the crotchety old man on his cyber lawn, but new people coming into cybersecurity do not realize how good we've got it these days. Where you don't have to go to DC 214 and meet in the basement of some seedy bar in downtown Dallas to find out like some really cool stuff. You still can, but it's not in a seedy bar anymore. You can literally look up a lot of this stuff, or hell, just even find it on Twitter, you know? CDC were my heroes. I wouldn't really call them heroes, but I certainly did enjoy hearing, not that I did this, but the stories of what other people did with Back Orifice and that very interesting piece of software. You mean like me? Yeah, exactly. We had a payphone back in at the back of the McDonald's I worked at in the early 80s. We figured out that we could reverse the leads of the connection box and make free calls. Nice. Back in the day, there wasn't much out there. War Games and Frac and BBS were about that. It's also IRC. I kind of miss IRC. And I know it's still a thing, but really, I don't really see IRC flourishing into the future. It's really just a bunch of diehards that are hanging on to it. Okay. Okay, so now that the changes are ported from Recon to Enum, this is going to be the actual big test, because what should happen is we have multiple tasks, right? Just doing that single nmap scan up here, I canceled it, but just doing that initial nmap scan should actually come through and help us be able to answer like 3 of these questions as they come through. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new node, a new thread, and we're going to run this. All right, so we hit the initializer. Oh, I forgot I had a breakpoint on there. Oh God, don't scroll lock on me. Let me take out that interrupt. Actually, I'm glad I had the interrupt because, okay, pre-flight check, false, false, false. Perfect. All right, continue. All right, so we're going to hit the recon agent. Let's see, what are we hitting here? We're hitting our tool node. We're going to do a TCP port scan. which is fine. Doesn't take very long. That should be the only task assigned to it. So if we look at the task table here, that's recon. All the other three are enumeration. So the big test of if the pre-flight check works is actually going to happen in the enumeration agent here. So we are formatting all that big, nasty, ugly XML from Nmap, updating the host. Hit the recon validator. All right, so now we're over into enumeration. I'm gonna let this run finish, and then I want to look at what it's doing, because it looks like it's not using our host data as it goes through. Hold on, we're stuck in a loop here for some reason. I could see it happening. Let's open up this thread. I'm on my 3rd iron lung. It's still a 2-pack a day, Lucky Smokers. I haven't checked IRC in ages, but I imagine it's mostly dead. I still want to get my Fido node set up. Dude, I have not been on IRC probably since I needed to for the OSCP. Because they were still using it, if I remember correctly, in 2018. Hey, Carson, what's up, brother? Happy Taco Tuesday. All right, let's see. So once we got to enum agent, tool node, output, validator. Okay, so something weird happened here. So our directory GoBuster here, exit status error on running GoBuster, unable to connect to... Why the heck was it trying to run against TaxZ? Oh, let's go look at Robo Pages. Let's go see what it's... So GoBuster, I think we added that TaxZ option, which said don't do an update bar. Okay, so everything was running well, I think, until when we rebooted the server, we restarted Robo Pages, and it probably hot-loaded in a... it hot-loaded a change that we had not tested with Robo Pages, which is weird. Let me see. CD pages. Then let's go look at that real quick. CD2 cybersecurity, offensive, information gathering, then GoBuster. So for some reason, it did not like that TaxZ option in here. This should be the latest version of GoBuster too. Hey, Sunblade, what's up, dude? I was recently an interview candidate for a cloud distributed security role. Saw the person research and prestige with highest reputed conference, very, very hard to get in, and hired him post some algorithmic knowledge. I mean, I don't really understand current jobs or making applicants just use what's existing and build something novel from scratch. Wait, hold on. I don't understand current jobs. They're making applicants just use what's existing and build some, I don't know what that last sentence was, Sin. Best IRC nodes are still out there, just not very busy. Yeah, I mean, like, Freenode, I know, is still out there and still banging probably for some of that stuff. I used to play Over the Wire before it was Over the Wire. Those were the days. Dude, I remember my very first DEF CON I went to, I think, was in 2010. And that was... we had, like, a big hacker meetup with the guy that did Pentester Academy, Vivek. And so hung out with them for a while. That was a lot of fun. So I remember Pentester Academy back way before What's Their Buckets bought it. Did you ever go to the iDefense parties? I did not. That was something I wasn't even aware of. Okay, so for some reason this TaxZ and the tac no color are messing it up. No, I also wasn't real big on the parties at DEF CON. that's right. It was INE that bought it. Yeah. What was the tax Z option for GoBuster? Oh, that was just for DNS, I believe. No, that's a global flag. Oh, oh, I'm a dummy. Look at that. Tag U is the URL parameter. Oh no, undo that. That's fine. What we'll do is, yeah, I get why it was doing that now. It should have been like that. Hoisted by my own potatoes. All right. Let me restart Robo Pages here. That sucks. It looked like it was running. Actually, I need to double check something in that trace because it looked like it was not using the pre-flight check. So we go to recon. Let me go open up the correct trace for this real fast. Yeah, recon finishes. We go to enumeration. We hit the enum router. So enum router. So we say passing to recon. Recon does its thing in our messages. Task 0 validated. We got a question and answer correctly. Okay. Passing to enumeration. Okay, so over here in the enum agent, we add any new messages. My mouse wheel's getting squirrely on me. Actually, it looks like it did work, because look, immediately it goes from the agent to the validator. So the validator, if we look at our tasks in here, recon, that one was already validated. So task 0 is good. Task 1 is status new. What service is running on port 22? Answer empty string. There's just blank. Okay, so there's something weird here. Let's look at this. Oh, okay, cool. Actually, it worked. Look at that. Open SSH. It's running. This is nice. Wait, hold on. Now there's something weird happening, though, because we pass this back. So task 2, or task number 1, has an answer. It's running open SSH. Perfect. State is validated. 2. But then let me look at this real quick. What is the actual question? What version of Apache is running? Target machine IP address is this. So for some reason here, it decides to go to HTTP tech detect, but this was a new task. It should have looked at that and sent it over to... Oh, it looks like there's a typo in this prompt. It should be having an additional line return here. But let's see. Oh, it meant the foundations and fundamentals matter, and all the technical buzzwords and cloud services are buzzwords for me. Hey, dude, it is. The hardest part about all the cloud stuff is the vocabulary. So, for example, someone got into Black Hat with the lowest acceptance rate for briefings with their highly sealed security. It's oh, okay. No, I understand that, definitely. Funny, my squirrel's getting mousy. Damn it, Ken. Yeah, so we're making progress. However, for some reason, it ran HTTPX heck detect. However, if we look at this data here on port 80, see how it's running Apache right here? So this task should have already validated. For some reason, though, when it passed back up to the enum agent, let me double check something because I'm trying to remember where we iterate what the current task is. I think that's in the validator, right? If it validates it, doesn't it iterate the current task? That stuff's funny because it's mostly the same stuff as on-prem with a fancy bit of management wrapped around it. True. But it's all called something completely different. Dude, that was the biggest pain in the ass when trying to learn some of the offensive Azure tradecraft was just the vocabulary. The vocabulary was such a beat. Look at something real quick. Recon prompt, task list, output, enum prompt. Let's see. Yeah, this is missing a line return. That was bugging me. Look at the validator here. So we set the pre-flight check to true, get the target IP address, validator prompt. So the task is whatever our state current task is set to. Oh wait, I think I remember where this happens in here. It actually happens up in the agent. Because what should happen is, we go through the pre-flight check. If it's completely new, we sit it down there, and then it bypasses this on the second go round. So if it's assigned to enumeration and is a valid task, or not a validated task, extract the task call. Eventually, it comes down here and it goes through a for loop. Where is that? Yeah. And we set the current task to the index. So it should have come back through and hunted for the next one after that. So why did it do that? I tell you what, let's go down to the end here. Before it called Go Buster and got stuck in the Go Buster loop. So right about here. So if we look at the message table, all right, so we told it scan the targets. We're gonna Stinger's gonna extract those tasks, pass it to Recon. Recon says, hey, I'm starting on task 0, which is scan the target, how many ports are open. Can't find anything. We do an nmap scan. Analyze the nmap output format. We update the host file. Updated host, yada, with scan data from nmap TCP port scan. Task 0 gets validated. Scan target has 2 open ports. Recon agent has no more tasks marked for execution, so it's passing to Stinger. Stinger then passes it to enumerate. Recon agent sending task. Oh, you know what I just realized? We didn't change those. It says Recon agent and Recon validator. I just realized because I was copying and pasting the code in here. There we go. Find Recon. This should because basically we were copying and pasting the code. Enum. Find next. Enum. And okay, cool. So we don't see recon in there. You always bring back to my days when I would have initiative and drive. Dude, what's funny is like it's not like I'm a young guy either. I'm 41, and I just like to go through and do this stuff. This is fun for me. So like I don't do this kind of stuff during my day job. This is where I come to kind of flex my creative muscles and do this a little bit and have some fun with it. I cannot wait to see this tool get to the point when it can start. We can start attacking Game of Active Directory with it. Oh, it's gonna be fun. Cannot wait. It's like I'm building a little Terminator here. Dude, I got some young folks that I work with though. I'm like, I appreciate that you don't have family to take care of, and you have this infinite time to work on these things. It feels like it's infinite time. Oh, right now I'm trying to squeeze in 20 minutes a day just to do some exercises, get my back in good shape. Hopefully by the end of June, I'm hoping to get back to ATV riding. So I've got some more build up and exercises to do for that. And then I'll get back to riding. I'm going to have to get a new back brace specifically for riding. So I'm working with my doctor on that. Life is short. Choose wisely. I'm having a good time with it. I spend time with the kids, especially since they're homeschooled. So I want to pop out for, 10, 15 minutes from work and go see them. I can. My wife is now going to be a stay-at-home mom, so it's real easy to go pop in and see her real fast. Okay, let's go rerun this. Let's do a new run on it, and hopefully Go Buster should be able to run just fine. New thread. Send our input. Dude, you're telling me, Ty, I wasted a ton of time. At least it feels like it. I guess in retrospect, I didn't. I've worked through a lot of different things in life. The only time I felt like I was actually wasting time was when I was working my first job in high school. I worked at Home Depot, but I wasn't doing anything really in addition to that. I guess I kind of was. I was working, learning martial arts, and then after I left Home Depot, I became a martial arts instructor, and I did that full time for 3 years. But then between when I stopped teaching martial arts and when I went back to school, felt like that was kind of like a big time sink right there, which was about 2 years. All right, we're over in the Enum agent now. I have a broad spectrum of experiences. That is one of the good things about it. So like I have a lot of weird experiences that I wouldn't otherwise have. There is freaking another craze Fang. I mean, I was speaking with some people I found ego hitting towards me from their body language. All those new grads just rushing those drains rather than passion for a job. So you talk about like they're just trying to like rush towards like getting the high profile jobs. Looks like we're running Go Buster now. Yeah, Go Buster directory group. That one can take it a minute. If all this worked well, I think we should actually only have 2 tool calls, an Nmap tool call and a Go Buster tool call. When I graduated from high school, my goal was to be a performing magician on a cruise ship. That's a wildly specific goal. I wouldn't mind just being a janitor at Netflix for 500K a year. Dude, I would mop all the floors for that. Yeah, they got like the X-Fang titles on LinkedIn, making recruiters beg them for shifting, at least for Netflix or Apple or Google, having good fitting. I had Meta and I hate Meta and Amazon. Dude, I had an interview at Amazon, and it was not a horrendous experience, but it also wasn't a very worthwhile one. I don't believe it was a very. That's not thinking. It was a really non-realistic interview, like especially like the what I call the stress coding interviews. I'm like, hey man, do you want me to write good code or do you want me to write fast and sloppy code? And if you want somebody that can write fast and good code, chances are they don't understand the security stuff that I understand. So the position for was what did they call it? Detection engineering. That's what it was called. And the position was basically, hey, we've gotten disclosed a new exploit from a vendor before it goes public, or somebody submitted something through a bug bounty, but the environment is so large, essentially we would have to build scanners to go find this and see where it's at and then triage it. All that was stuff I'm very well equipped to do. And essentially they were always big data problems just because of the sheer scope of the Amazon infrastructure. It was everything outside of AWS. That was its own thing. But everything else that Amazon had, including like Whole Foods, was included in that scope. And it was not bad, and I met some really cool folks, but at the same time, I wasn't dying to get that job. It was going to be a means to an end to go into the internal Amazon Red Team. And also, they wanted me to move to Austin, and I don't like Austin. It's not. It's a congested hippie town. I didn't want to live in Austin. So when I didn't get the position, I was like, oh darn. I appreciate you rocking the TCU shirt. I didn't even remember I still had the TCU shirt on until the stream started. I just try to make sure I don't have a shirt that's got like nasty holes all in it. Like one of my homebody shirts. I avoid Amazon like the plague. I don't like the sentiment of the back office, the arrogance of the leadership principles, and keep Austin weird. Austin can stay weird all at once. I'm just going to be non-weird over here in Dallas until I can afford a cattle farm, which at this rate will probably be when I'm 99. I can just go retire and look at the cows. Oh, you worked in Dallas for a bit? But there's actually a lot of folks that from my company that live in like around Dallas and a bunch in Texas. So like I keep trying to convince them to open a remote office in Dallas. I would totally drive in there. Yeah, Austin traffic is atrocious, man. I'd prefer to work at someplace like Nvidia or Red Hat or Broadcom or Qualcomm. Dude, given your skill set, those would be really badass places to go work. Dang it, I was doing really good this stream. I've been trying really hard not to cuss, and I was like, dang it. I've been trying to work on it. It's a personal improvement thing. I remember when Flower Mound was cattle fields. Yeah, no kidding, man. I remember when I was a kid, they were in the process of still building the superconducting super collider in Waxahachie, which is not very far from where I live. It's about a 25-minute drive, 30 minutes with traffic. And my dad taking me down there around 1990 to go look at the site. I think it was about that time. I was really young, but I was so excited for it. And of course, then the project got scrapped. I don't trust a man who don't cuss. It's just part of a personal improvement thing. It's one thing to like cuss when it's appropriate. I was just dropping F-bombs like they were going out of style. Oh, it's a movie quote? Oh, okay. I failed at that one. Which movie? Go Buster takes so long. Wait, did it just finish? No, it hasn't finished yet. Oh, there's something jacked up here. Hold on. Cancel. We should not have multiple hosts happening in here. Look at this. So if we look at the state table here, there's our IP address. So for some reason, I think... Did we not add the host update? We didn't. And by we, I mean my simple smooth brain didn't. That's why it was messing up. Look, so what should happen is after output formatter, we're missing a section of the graph. There's this host update node here. So of course it couldn't pull that out of the host update. But hold on, there's something weird happening here though, because if we look at the host section in here, there's 3 hosts listed in here, and they shouldn't be. Oh, I know why. It's because I made the changes in 2 batches. I know what's going on. It's because originally things were stored in the state table as host name, IP address, and we ended up just scrapping the host name section and we're just going by IP address. That's what happened. All right, I'll catch you later, man. Falling Down. Oh, dude, that was a good movie. That was God, what was that actor's name? That was Kurt Russell. No, not Kurt Russell. What's that? That guy's name? Michael Douglas. That's it. Yeah, Michael Douglas. He shoots that RPG. God, that was funny. I taught my daughter that I'd rather have her say the F word than say literally. Let's see. I was asked to system design a traffic control queue disk in user space to replicate improved bandwidth. Internally, a Bloom filter plus a multi-queue priority queue at Google. Did it work? That's the big key. All right, let me see. Yep, this is the problem right here. Line 116. Let me look at the recon. Yep, that's part of the problem here. It looks like everything's working. We just got to suss out a few bugs in here. So that should be equal to the target host right there. So a couple of things. We got to go update this. Yep, so we still keep that. And then we need to add the host update. So what happened here is, yep, we got to add the host update node into there. So let's go do that. So host update should be after output formatter. We add an edge from enum tools to output formatter, and then what we'll do is we're gonna enum workflow. We're gonna add an edge to this would be edge from enum output formatter, and we're gonna send that to host update. Is that what we called it? Yeah, host update. And then we're gonna do workflow, add a node. So the node we're gonna add here is gonna be named host update, and that's gonna be host update. Okay. And then now we need to add an edge from host update to. No, that's not correct. I'm getting tired of my not thinking correctly. So from output formatter to host update to validator. Output formatter to host update to host update to validator. Looks like there's a problem in, fucking this. Was the HLDI programmed in next weekend post Google ghosted me? Yeah. Rude. Alright, so we go to tool node to output formatter to host update to the validator, and then validator to agent. That should be good. Get any errors up here? I think we did. You reload. We'll check the enum back here. Yeah, there we go. Tool node. Yeah, okay. Sweet. Alright, so we have our tool execution chain, got our validator chain. Excellent. Okay. Run this one time, except I'm going to leave off the Go Buster part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this real quick. I'm going to take out this very last one here. So we're just going to send it 3 tasks. Scan the target, find out how many ports are open, what version of Apache is running, and what service is running on port 20. All this should be done amongst 2 agents, but with 0, or just like 1 tool call. We don't have anything in the host, so it should go directly to tool call, which it's doing. So we're going to just wait for that nmap scan to run. Only takes a few seconds. Do nmap output format. We update the host. Validate, and then it immediately passes over to enum. Okay, so this is not correct, because it should not have run an nmap service enumerator. Watching and hearing you code after making my first calculator with Python is almost as comparable to a Harvard grad reading Shakespeare to an ape. Dude, I've been doing coding for a very long time. Like my first actual, I've been messing with code since I was real little, like in elementary school. I took my actual first proper programming class in high school, and I graduated. So this is probably like 2000. I took it, right? So 25 years ago. Holy crap, that makes me sound old. There's a 19 in my birth year, and so I've just been doing this a long time. Agent Zero was telling me that. He's like, I was doing some math work with him. He's like, Daddy, you're so smart. I'm not as smart as you. I was like, that's not true, kid. I'm just older than you. I'm beating you with experience. There's a very good chance you're going to be smarter than me. And so, but you got to get the experience to beat me. It's not just one thing or the other. So this is interesting. Look at this. So task 1, what version of Apache is running? It actually did go to agent, to validator, to agent, and then to a tool call. It says, hey, what's running on, what service is running on port 22? But if we look at the host section, it should finish right here after it does the output. Update. All right, cool. So the entire run finished. Shut up, baby. I know it. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. About to have to. Let me snooze the answer. About to have to call it a night here in just a second. But we're making progress. There's one little bug that I think we're going to have to sort out here.
Caution. A virus has been detected.
S1Y_B0RG virus detected in the network.
The Slyborg virus. Type cookie. What's up, Sly? What you up to tonight? I know I'd come in and you say you're almost done. Any other night, I probably would have stayed up late, but I just got really trash sleep the last couple of nights. Mostly because of streaming, but also just because of other stuff. So I really got to go to bed on time tonight. So literally, as soon as I sign off, I'm just going to go brush my teeth and collapse into bed. No blame, I'm going to bed too. Yeah, no kidding. If I didn't have like this thing called sponsorabilities, then I would totally stay up, have fun, keep hacking away. What are responsibilities? It means you're not allowed to have fun anymore. All right, hold on. So after we do our scan here, we update the host in here. So if we look at our ports, 22, the version is OpenSSH, right? So the question we were asked is, what service is running on port 22? Service SSH. So there's some kind of bug when the enumeration agent runs back through here. There's some kind of a bug because when it's task switched, it did not validate. Okay. The reason for that is because I know what the problem is, but I'm not fixing it tonight. I'll put a to-do note to fix it tomorrow. So what happens is if we come over to the enum agent, it does not, so we get the current task, right? We get our, whatever the current task is from the state, which is just an index value. This does not get updated until we actually hit the what's called the task hunt. Search for the first new task, right? It doesn't get updated. So the validator only sets it to validated. So it's checking the current task that's already been validated, has already had a pre-flight check. Yep. Okay, so we'll need to go through, we'll have to make a logic change in
Let me put that in the to-do list. I'm a responsible person. Every time things get effed up and the boss asks who's responsible, everyone points at me. Sometimes that's the way it feels. Actually, I don't usually have that a lot of places I go to. Usually it's me saying, yeah, that was my bad, I'll fix it. Okay, so for enum and recon, I'm gonna need to update pre-flight check when task switching check hunting blue online. What line was that? Line 54. Put the same thing down here. I think in enum it's also in line. Yeah, it's about there. It's line 50. So it's a slight difference. But the good news is, I mean, this is working. We just got to figure. It was once we figure out that logic bug, it'll be good. All right. I wonder if anybody's actually on from InfoSec streams. Nope. Nobody on. Nobody on but us lowly degenerate hackers. All right. If anybody has a raid suggestion, shout them out for me. Actually, you know what? Griffin's on. How long's he been on for? Dude, he's been on for almost 7 hours now. What's he working on? Sipping from the AT Proto fire hose. Okay. We might go raid Griffin. Raided him in a while. He's a cool dude. Let's see if anybody else is doing anything fun. Raytho's on, Nerduino's on. Love those guys. A lot of folks playing Oblivion. Retro FPS game day. Randy's working on fun stuff. Yeah, we'll go right over to Griffin. Get him a raid. Alright guys, unfortunately that is it for tonight. I have got to get some sleep. I got stuff I got to take care of tomorrow. This is my last week on leave before I head back to work. And so I'm doing a mad dash to try and get as much done in the house as possible. Cool thing is, updates to the agents are working. It's now we're actually using the state table. We got a bug with the task switching, but it's a minor issue. We just got to change where some of the logic happens. So, is Penetration Tester your official title? It is not, Mr. Funny Good Feelings. My official title is Consultant. And I don't tell people I'm a penetration tester because either they're like, hey, don't hack me, bro, or they come up with like, penetration. So people ask what I do, I tell them I'm an IT consultant. I tell people where their stuff is broken so they can go fix it. I just leave it at that. What kind of suggestions am I looking for? None now, Oreo, but in the future, just anybody that's interesting. We're about to go right over to Mr. Griffin. He's always writing fun code. Yes, Hackbot is on GitHub. It's on the BlazeBits GitHub, so you can see it on there. I haven't pushed tonight's code. I'll push it on Saturday. Shut up, baby. I know it. But that's all I got for you guys. I gotta head out. I want you all to remember one thing, and that is, I love you. Peace. Wait. Did he just go offline? Damn it. I was rating Griffin and he went offline. Penetrations tester sounds more professional. It can in certain instances. Other instances, not so much.
Okay, we're gonna go raid Jitsbo. Because apparently Griffin just went offline. What's happening here? I'm so lost right now. Oh well, that's where we're gonna end it. I gotta go, guys. I love you. Peace.